doing anything. In addition to the broadcast, we would like to introduce you that we're bringing to you here on this channel. I hope you all enjoy each of them, and please feel free to subscribe to us and follow us here, as well as on Facebook, Twitter, and Wordpress, so that you can stay updated to all of our broadcasts and future upcoming broadcasts as well. Good evening, everyone. I'd like to thank you guys for joining and welcome you to Knowledge and Principles. Tonight's discussion will be on empath, the importance of embracing it. I'm actually going to get into
These guys were really into that spaghetti.
I am definitely going to get into a few things on this as well. Things I've seen, certain proposed things that I've experienced. I'd like to, for those that are kind of new to it, and those that have even known it for a while. Like I said, I've had many experiences. In dealing with this. I think I've been down the spectrum, so to speak, as well. You know, I've noticed a lot of the comments, people talk about how they start feeling drained, down, Sometimes it can feel like the weight of the world is actually on your shoulders. And I'll break some of that down from my own personal experiences. Sorry about that, guys. I just needed to share a link real quick. You know, I know we all feel many different things from different people, and the things around us. Even we pick up imprints from animals as well. These are the little things. Those that aren't new to this, it's been in, and actually understand it, start to embrace it more. The more we open up, the more we feel. In a sense, we go through three different processes and changes before we know what this is. We start to feel things in its rawest sense. The energy is compounding. So I know how it was for me. I was just feeling all these different emotions. And I didn't realize it was from the people that I was around. The situations I was in. And I also didn't realize how much more it affected me as I started these new abilities. It was like everything, no matter what was going on. Turn on the TV, the things that you see on TV, on the news and stuff, you can feel that. You can feel the energy, the emotions coming off that. The day and age where, we've got the social networks like Facebook, Twitter, and other social websites. So we're interacting with a bunch of people. A lot of these people read. Us empaths, we get the advantage and the gift. We kind of know them, and they don't realize it. But at the same time, for people that are actually new, they don't realize it. We got to be able to know when to, okay, that person's having a bad day. In a sense, we need to kind of keep him out in the distance for him or her out in the distance for a little bit. So though we're not getting bombarded by those energies and they're affecting us. Because we end up feeling it in terms of depression, sadness, like we're drained, which, not all the time is the case. It's usually a buildup. Or when we get too built up and don't release it, then we start feeling that way. Especially when we start more embracing this gift. It becomes a point where at times it feels overwhelming. And a lot of times, we don't realize what's the cause of it. I tell a lot of people, you got to learn to step back, take a break, and just follow where you got to realize all emotion is a form of energy. So you learn to follow the energy back, and you'll be able to pinpoint right where it's coming from. But you just got to take a little break, clear your head, and you can usually almost always can pinpoint the source of where it's coming from, or sources. Sometimes it's that from where you work, the people you're around. They don't really. This is what we have to remember. They don't realize how their energies affect us, their emotions affect us. And a lot of people try to hide it. But the problem is, you're never hiding it. Like I said, in terms of energy, because that's what it is. In a sense, it's just vibrating through them and out. They don't know how to hold it in. They just let it flow. Remember, we pick up on it, and we read it, and it ends up affecting us. Usually we catch it by how all of a sudden we're having a good day, good time, doing our own thing, and just all of a sudden this emotion comes out of nowhere. It's like, wait, where did it come from? You know, that's when you want to step back, look around, feel. And when you pinpoint it, there's many tricks and techniques you can do. Put the out and push that out. I mean, I know there's probably going to be a lot of beginners that pick up on this, but I'm going to at your own pace what you feel comfortable with at first. As you grow, you'll go understand more and pulling that energy from them and transferring it back with the opposite. So you're changing their mood, you're bettering them. But also remember, you're going to be holding that energy, and you're going to be feeling it. So at the same time, you want to put something to dissipate it to, or something else to charge it to. You know, sending it through the ground, through your grounding works. You know, just send it back to the earth. The earth will just dissipate it and let it go where it needs to go. Then by doing that, you're not affecting others around you, because we also affect others around us stronger than what they affect us. All right, for those that keep stones, transfer it to a stone. If you're using quartz, remember, guys, quartz is like a memory stone. Forget it out of it. I don't care who says you can cleanse them, you can't. Hence why paranormal investigators, the first thing they search for around places, if there's quartz crystals laying around. Why? Because they leave the residue. So just think of them as a memory stone. Whatever isn't put in them stays in them. They don't go away, can't be cleansed. It's a permanent imprint, can't delete it. But they work for techniques like this. Because, I mean, once you start learning how to do that, especially those that use the stones, you also learn you can mix other energies into it, and you actually have a stone that you charge from or take from when you need a particular energy. That's getting a little bit more on the advanced side. I want to keep it a little bit more simple. Like I said, there's nothing wrong with drawing for some people. But remember, if you're doing it on the healing aspect, that's a little bit harder to get rid of. Same principle works. When you do that, you can make yourself sick, and usually end up sick. And sometimes we're not even consciously aware we're doing that. We're around some people that are sick, and our subconscious kicks in and wants to heal, and does it. So it usually does it in the easiest form necessary, which is drawing from them, especially if we're not taught in the ways of healing. We end up drawing from them and replacing it with something else, but we forget the subconscious doesn't release it, which is another reason why some people may feel they were. Because it's a lot of things, it's who we allow into our circles. The closer they are, the more connected we are to them. We also like our friends and family. We're more connected, so it's easier to read them. We're always reading them. No matter where they're at, we can feel them if we think on them. As soon as we think on them, we feel them. Just by that connection, and remember, subconscious plays a role here. Our subconscious is always feeling for them because they're important to us, as much as our loved ones or our pets. So it's always wanting to be that motherly figure, so to speak, or fatherly figure. And by doing so, that's why I've always told everybody, careful who you let in. We live in a day and age where a lot of us have tons of friends on our Facebook pages. Well, you guys got to remember, you let them in. So therefore, there's a connection there, whether it's business, acquaintance, whatever you want to title it. The universe don't judge, can't differentiate between loved one, friend, or family. It sees it as you let them in. And even in the occult aspects of things, I've explained this, and people don't get it. Nothing wrong with letting people in. You just got to remember, you let them in. You got to know also how to tune them out. It's like right now, we see on the TVs, I know everybody sees it. You see it all over Facebook pages, people posting, stuff that's going on, the protests, all that. I'm not getting into the politics. Even politics affected it. We went through a year where just things built up in everybody. Empath, we feel it. We can't get away from it. Everywhere we go, we feel it. And those of us are more open. Well, distance doesn't matter. I can feel my friend clear in Australia. The more open we get, the more we embrace, the more we feel, the more other senses open up. It's just not the feeling part. We start our hearing, our sights, our smell. Everything's in a sense, everything with us is, when it comes to our senses, they're heightened. It's what allows us to read the energy. It allows us to read the person. It's hard to lie to us. Just like when we got that real strong connection with your partners. I'm single, but I've experienced it. I've actually experienced it and enjoyed it with another empath, which was an amazing thing. Changed my perspective on relationships completely. It's just that it's like a natural form of communication. There's no lies. You don't have to worry about lying because you can't. It's a pure form of trust and communication at its purest form. And you can go in farther than that. I'm not going to because, look, you guys can use your imaginations and see where it could lead and how strong those connections could be. The intensity of it. Plays a good role. A very important role. It's healthy. That's something when two empaths do get together and feel that connection, feel like they're really drawn to each other, meant to be with each other. I'm not saying you I'm not saying to look for other empaths. You can form that connection with others. It's just knowing that they're not going to understand. They may not understand. Because as I look through the two empath groups I'm involved in, and I see various different beliefs, which is cool. You guys are accepting of others, which is amazing because, the communities I'm from, we're all divided. We can't, us empaths see it, we don't want it, but you can't tell others, We can look past the differences. It's a gift. Whether you consider it's a God gave you that gift, or it's just natural. So I want to kind of keep the religious aspects out of this as well. Because I want everybody to be able to learn from this video and the other ones that I have done on Empath. So I want to keep anything that could potentially, but in truth, I just shouldn't have to because you guys can sit there and read me, hear my voice. Guys, that's another thing, or how we speak, how we reverberate in tone. The easiest way to put it, you guys remember when you knew when you got in trouble, when you heard your mom or dad say your name in a certain tone. We do it, people do it all the time, most people don't realize it. But in the media aspect, they do know it. They do understand it. They know how to trigger us. Use words and change the frequencies to affect people. We are more susceptible to it because we're more open. And that is one of the pitfalls for us that we have to be aware of. That's why I'm bringing it up. The forms of it as well. TV and videos and music all can do that. It is a form of energy vibration. At its purest form, without no words, it can move you, alter and change your states of emotions with each note. Then when you add someone adding words to it, singing, they are vibrating those words, which also affects us. We hear it, we see it. That's why I think a lot more empaths appreciate music. We appreciate it in all of its genres. I mean, there's times where I like classical music. It's soothing. But yet there's some forms of classical music that is uplifting. But I also love my metal music. Once we distinguish, it's just frequencies of vibrations and energies, it makes things easier to understand and comprehend when we're dealing with the empathic side. Once we realize all an emotion is a form of energy. And every energy has its opposite. As for new empaths, that's how I'd like to explain it to you. Don't be afraid of it. Learn to embrace it. To experience and review what you experience. How did it make you feel? That's how you learn the property of that energy, how it affects you. So now you know. So now you know the opposite to shield you from it. Or channel it to put blocks. Or draw it in and replace it with something else opposite. Another good thing for us, cleansings. I don't know. Like I said, I'm going to try to keep the religious side of things. Simple cleansing, incense, meditations, yogas, all aspects that we attune into that helps us ourselves when we build up. Because we got to remember, we do build up. We're not, kind of sense, picture yourself as a battery being charged. You're always being charged by something. But when you overcharge something, you will feel drained, sometimes sick. It's like, best example I can get for those that ever went to a concert. What's it like? It can be a little imposing at times because of all the energies. It can get overwhelming, but through the music and stuff, you feel it vibrating through you and around you. Everybody else in tune with the music, which ends up uplifting you. But at first, it can be overwhelming. That's why a lot of us don't like to be around big crowds. I don't like going shopping in the malls or Walmart, where you're always around, because you're always feeling them. But as you grow, you learn to be able to tune them out. The other night I ran into a post about something that I never actually attributed to being an empath. I attributed it to more of an occult perspective on cutting strings, like basically cutting all the emotions. I didn't realize, and it's instantly, I knew what it was, and I knew how dangerous it was. I don't know how many other people that when they were new to it actually tried to do the same thing. It's like, I call it shutting the switch off. Now, you can shut the switch off. There's major repercussions to it. I don't recommend it. And if you know somebody that's doing, be their focal point to guide them back. Embrace them. Show them how they can share with you what they're feeling. Because it is dangerous. Because eventually it becomes like an addiction. Because a lot of times it's usually, I think it's pretty much only in the ones that are new and don't know what the empath is or heard about it but not sure, they want to cut the switch. They want to turn it off. So in a sense, they think they're deadening the experience and feeling, but what they're doing, they're cutting all those emotions off. Blocking, they're cutting their own off. Point where you end up becoming empty, hollow. And in truth, what you do, and some people may not believe this, but in truth, what you have done, you have actually blocked your soul from communicating with your subconscious and your mind. That inner voice. And therefore, many things can lead to possession, being influenced, manipulated, mind controlled to do anything anybody else wants. Driver's seat no more. I experienced that the hard way and the wrong way, which that's why I commented a little bit, but I left what I'm telling you now out because I couldn't do it. Didn't want to do it. I could do it. I didn't want to do it because I didn't want energies that I was feeling after reading it to affect the group. So I stepped away. I haven't commented in either group for that. I wanted to do this video first because, like I said, I'm aware, I've fully embraced it, and I understand how that can be used for short periods of time. Don't recommend it, but if you're in some situations where it is needed, and you'll know how to use it. But first, don't ever try it until you've experienced everything, felt everything, until you fully embraced your abilities. Like I said, I'd never put 2 and 2 together on that. And it caused some of the worst things ever to happen in my life. In fact, it took me down a victim. That's why I don't recommend it, even when you fully embrace it. There's other ways to combat it. But like I said, situations and environments, there may be a need for it. So it is a tool at your disposal. I say it's a break glass in case of emergency tool. You guys figure out what that is for yourselves. I know what it's for me, which I actually kind of used it a bit that night just so I could post what little I commented on. You know, we can read it. We read the words. People that don't realize, even when you type, you're actually imprinting your emotions and energies into the words you type or write. You know, which can trigger people. You might not mean it. A lot of times when we're writing, we're thinking as we write. And when sometimes we feel those emotions, they just transfer into the words we're writing. Some of the best books ever written was by the others that understood that very principle because they tell a story within a story. Us empaths, that's another beauty of it. When we read it, we see it. We can actually see it. And it forms the imagery. It's beautiful. Like I said, this ability is not a curse. It can be burdensome at first because as we're learning, because really there's not much out there on discussions and topics in written form about empaths. You know, I found a few things, other stuff that's educational, and yeah, I mean, back when I first awoken up to it, and like I said, I didn't know what an empath was until 2009. Yet I was in my teens back in the 90s. That's when I first realized the ability, but I didn't put it in the term as an empath. I looked at it as the occultic terms of things. Then even that lost meaning, where I just couldn't figure out why. I know many of you, we're very sensitive to movies that we watch. It'll spark those emotions, especially with really good actors, like really get into the role. You know. why it's really important to start embracing it, even at the early stages of it. Because believe me, it's a journey. I mean, it's been a up and down roller coaster journey for me. I haven't fully embraced it until a year and a half ago. But it took me dealing with another empath. Because once you start embracing it and fully embrace it, you start seeing everything for what it really is. You know? And you've already learned how to dissipate the energies, block them. It becomes real natural. This is where you get affected because we get caught up in things we got to realize the most important thing we can do is stop, take a step back, and think, and follow the trail back to where it came from. Usually once we track it back, it's like a natural mechanism that blocks it already and recharges us. Because we just became aware of where it's coming from. Because a lot of times we don't know. How many people are we around in a given day? We make contact with on the internet through various social sites. So that's why I do recommend, even at the end of the day, before you go to bed, take time. Make it like a form of meditation for you, just to process the things through the day. You've been around, just to make sure you didn't pick up any extra energies, because like I said, we are always picking up. Sometimes we don't notice. It just clings to us until it builds up to a point where oh, wow, I feel like crap. I'm drained. I'm tired. I feel depressed. Because honestly, I mean, even when I realized what I realized seeing that post, all those emotions came flooding up, but I still felt happy, alive, and vibrant. Yes, I felt those energies, but I wasn't giving them that much power. But they were there, so that means I needed to step back. One, I needed to step back. First, I needed to switch off while I was in the group, so I got out of the group. That way, didn't imprint nothing on the group. Because it's like, I know, I was talking to a few people I know that's been to some of the protests, and they talk about how they just feel charged. I mean, a lot of the people are so open, they don't realize it. They don't realize what they are yet, and they're just out there being manipulated. Because what they don't realize when you're chanting those things, in a sense of what you're doing is you're putting yourself through a meditative trance. You're taking yourself deeper into the process. Repetitive chanting does that. That's why cops will beat on their shields. It's a form of vibration that triggers people. And it entices them, incites them. Because really, I don't think a lot of empaths realize how we can affect people. We can take that mob and turn it into a crowd. We take that crowd and turn it into a peaceful, just by projecting that from ourselves and pushing it out. I mean, like I said, a lot of us we're still learning. Even I'm learning. But the more I see, the more I understand. The more awake I become, the more I've embraced it, I can start seeing the patterns, energies, and see how they're being used, and how to, change them. Nothing wrong with making somebody feel better. Nothing wrong with taking a riotous mob and calming it down. That can be draining, though. So remember, we can drain ourselves. But, for those that use stone, I don't, guys. But then we also got to realize when we become drained, natural instinct, when we come to a certain point, it becomes automatic without thought, without even us being consciously aware. We start drawing off things around us, everything around us, till we get a certain amount of energy built back up. Hence, this is where the term psychic vampirism came around. We can be psychic vamps. We don't mean to, and it really usually, it's those that are new to it, they do it and they don't realize it. Those of us that realize it, we'll catch ourselves when we're doing it, and we stop. And we usually give back what we just took. But there is the crowd out there that knows it and are aware of it, and they feed and prey on people like that. That's why it's always good when you start feeling like that, just to step back and make sure it wasn't that. I've only encountered a couple on either of the two empath groups. And they don't like getting a taste of their own medicine, or they don't like getting certain types of other energies. Like I said, just find out what they're up to. Give them the opposite. Or give them a taste of their own medicine. It works both ways. But yeah, there's some people that do know that. And like I said, every community, every group has their bad apples. But we got to be careful and not call our bad apples all the time, because sometimes it's just somebody's new and not aware they're doing it. Just like even with me, I get drained to a certain point, it's going to become a natural instinct. My subconscious mind tells me, hey, you're drained, you need energy, and it's going to do it without me thinking about doing it. And, after a little bit, we catch it. There's many techniques for us empaths. We do many things, especially as we start embracing it and awakening. That's when we start awakening the other senses, the hearing, to where we're actually hearing the vibrations themselves are actually speaking. The sense of smell, which is that one can get unnerving and a little uncomfortable from time to time. It's like I said, we just got to be careful sometimes. Sometimes we get caught up in everything around us, or sometimes we don't realize why we're tuning into something. Because it's, pretty much in our face all the time. And, so we get accustomed to it, and we don't tune it out. So, it's like I was talking about. Look at it in a sense like this. Breaking news. That's actually a trigger. Or the air raid sirens for tornadoes. We know when we hear them, it triggers, oh, we need to seek shelter. Or when we hear that emergency broadcast system noise, we instantly snap to attention to check. And as we know, most of the time, it's always just a test. Except for at least in North Carolina, when I was down there, I seen them start using that for the Amber Alert system as well, which I thought was kind of cool. The reason I'm pointing this out is because, like I said, it's a vibration. It's a vibration that that we've been programmed since childhood to do. That goes back to my warning. People can do it as well with the way they change the tones of their voice. I know some people that can speak softly and do it, and you don't even pick up on the change in the vibration. Those guys are masters at other art, because it's an art form to do it. I can do it to a certain point, and it affects us. We feel it. We're awake enough that, like I said, once we start embracing, we already start seeing the patterns, and we know, we can feel and read the intention of being an empath. Like, we know when somebody's going to do us harm, or has harmful intentions. And, why is it so important to embrace? Here's why. For anybody, go ahead. My energy is flowing freely right now. You can feel what I feel. What I'm feeling, how I'm feeling. I'm feeling things from everywhere. Just letting it flow. Natural. Once we start embracing, we automatically start setting up those shields to shield us from all aspects of it. Because we're aware. That's the key. When we embrace this, we become aware. We become more open. So we can see it before it affects us. I mean, it's still going to happen from time to time. We're not perfect. We strive for perfection, especially those of us artists, but we know we're not. And sometimes we have to experience something before we can understand it and be aware of it, which is another reason why I've been enjoying doing all the videos I have, especially the ones on the Empath, because I've surfed a little bit on YouTube, haven't found really any. We're an amazing bunch of people, and I'm glad to see the two groups on Facebook because they're amazing. It's like I love going there just to read. I haven't really shared anything. This is actually probably the second thing I've ever shared, but shared as a post. I just comment where I feel drawn to. I feel where I live most of my life. I follow the energy, wherever the energy of my inner voice draws me to. And this is the only time where you'll ever see me comment, because I was just drawn to that post when I read it. But I do read all the posts. I just seen this topic come up more and more about people feeling drained, weak. So I wanted to give you little insights to maybe what's the cause, but actually give you the teaching technique of how to trace the cause. And the more you learn to do it, it'll become really second nature. That's why some of us are taught in repetition. The more we do it, eventually it just becomes subconscious, where we don't have to think. As soon as it reacts before we even feel it. And the only reason we noticed it because we actually opened up more. We'll feel a shift. We'll feel our senses heighten more. And it's the other thing I need to discuss. Learning to control your senses. I only walk around a sliver open, and that says a lot. By doing so, it allows me not to be affected as much. I can still see, I can still hear, I can still feel the energies and vibrations, but it also helps protect or block out the ones that are meant to trigger you, or the ones that are just there, that you just happen to walk through a crowd and you picked up on. So learning to tone it down, find that you're comfortable with. Me, a sliver. And you guys will learn as you grow and more embrace it and start awakening the other senses. You'll probably get to a point where you'll go from half to half of that. I think a lot of people stay at half of the half. Then there's another group like me, and I know a bunch of others. We got to take that half and go almost to a sliver open, because it's just, we see that much even at the sliver. Our sliver is like seeing through the half, if not a little bit more. But that's a good thing, though, because when you do open it up more, the more you see, the more you can relate and understand Then that gets into other things. Like I said, we're natural readers. Now you can take that rock that you've been charging, for those that wish to do that, and actually read the object. That's why a lot of us make awesome tarot readers or divinationists in any divination form, whether it be runes, tarot, geomancy, and all the many forms. Because in truth, we're not reading the card. We're actually reading the person. The card's just a focal piece, a trigger, that put you in that deeper state of trance or gnosis that allows you to read that person. That's the whole trick to divination, guys. For those that wish to delve into it. Like people. Put your picture in and read your picture. You don't need the picture, guys. Once you make a connection with somebody, they can't hide who and what they are. I mean, unless they're good, really good. I mean, I can't say that. I've met a few people that even stumped me. But eventually I catch it. Once you become aware, and you'll have that feeling, something's not right. They might have got it off the first time, but the more you interact, the harder it is to keep up the illusion. Because the more you interact, the more connection is building between you. Plus, you'll start realizing that distance doesn't mean a thing. I try to teach people, we're connected to everything. Everything is a part of us. Every energy is a part of us. We have our good days, we have our bad days. Okay? They are a part of us. We try to not let we give more importance to the one than the other, when we should keep them the same level of importance. But we also should know, hey, sometimes if we're being attacked, it's nice to be able to have that one a little bit more powerful at that time to push somebody off us. You also got to realize there's a defense and offense to being an empath as well. I haven't heard nobody discuss that one. I'm not going to get too much into it because I think you guys know. If you can take and replace, you can take and not replace. We replace to give back. Every time we take, because we don't like seeing people sad, hurt, depressed. So we like to give them back something more positive. Sometimes you don't even have to take, just giving. And a form of letting them feel. But as you become more aware, more focused, more embracing of your abilities, you no longer have to take or give. You just feel it within you, and you know it radiates out and affects everyone around you. Which we already know, we just haven't understood or realized it yet. In fact, everybody around us more than anybody. And that's not us channeling to them or taking. That's just us feeling the way we feel and not correcting it. Not realizing how much it vibrates out from us. That's why I kind of brought up, the protesters. Because what are they doing? It only really starts off, it's only a couple of them. Really start getting to chant, but as they do, it vibrates from one person to the next. Therefore, it triggers the next person. The energy starts flowing. In a sense, it's like a domino effect. Like I said, we have a tendency to put too much emphasis on things like distance, time, or holding things in. Truthfully, when you hold things in, you're not really holding them in because it's still going out from you. And you guys, especially for those in the group, the empath groups, you guys should know that because we can feel it every time somebody's in a group. And we know they're not trying to, they're trying to keep it bottled up, not to flood the group with it. That should tell you that, just because you're bottling it up doesn't mean you're protecting anybody from it. That's why it's, take that energy, release it into the ground. You even visualize it going from you down your legs, through your feet, bottom to your feet, to the bottoms of your feet, into the ground, and soaking in the ground, or you just think it, or you can just take your hand and channel it into the ground, or into a tree or rock, whatever you choose. Now that's why it's good to learn some meditations, guys, because meditations also help us control, balance. It's probably the only time you'll ever hear me use the term balance. You balance yourself out, just like when you find, for those of us who connect deeply to an empath and end up getting in a relationship with an empath, we end up balancing each other out. Why? Because we end up sharing each other's emotions to the point where now you've expanded it to where it doesn't become burdensome, but also you have that guiding force. Your partner is going to feel you more and understand you more. And, not even with thought, she'll, you in a sense, and you'll just know through the connection to, oh yeah, I'm sorry, and you'll feel the same way with her. So you guys, now there is another thing. You guys can bounce stuff back and forth to each other too. Now, if you guys get in an argument, get mad at each other, what happens is the energy starts bouncing back and forth. So one person's got to realize quick to stop, step away, or shield, block, whatever. If not, you're just going to keep bouncing it off each other. And it's just going to keep growing and intensifying. Same principle to the protest or crowds and mobs, however you want to put it. All they're doing is bouncing it off from each other, and it intensifies. Eventually, the crowd becomes the mob. And a lot of it, the crowd's not even aware of it. It's the ones that want to do that that's aware of it and aware that they can do this. Like I said, every group has their bad apples. But we pick up on that. We sense what's going on. Then we can either choose to react and affect, or we can just block and let things take their course. That is some people's perspective. They don't want to get caught up in it. And like I said, to each their own. Everybody's entitled to that right of belief and ideas. I think the more you embrace, the more you understand these things. The more you embrace this, you also become more closer to that inner voice, which is your spirit, your soul. And it starts connecting more with you, and therefore you're connecting more with everything around you, the universe, and all of the energies. You start seeing the flow, the patterns. Like I said, it's an amazing gift. That many of us are just now experiencing fully. We're like, you picture it's like a flower. It starts off as a seed. Roots start to sprout from the seeds, then the stem. Stem finally breaks the earth, comes up, it starts to go through a metamorphosis or symphysis, so eventually a bulb will grow. And that bulb, one morning, as the sun comes out, will start blossoming, unfolding in its beauty. That's the way I relate to the empath side. It starts off with a little old seed that, not so pretty. But it goes through a process and a transformation, a metamorphosis. In a sense, that's what us empaths do. The more we embrace it, the more we start seeing the beauty of it. The less we see it as a curse. And when we finally embrace it fully, we can't see it as a curse. We only can see it as a blessing, an amazing gift. Because we've come full circle, we become fully aware. Then we start seeing more. We start seeing the patterns. We start seeing how things flow and work. We see those ripples when people try to start bouncing things off other people without, we do it. We just don't realize it. We don't make the connection. That's actually what's happening as we're growing and learning about this. In truth, there's no excuse for an empath to ever be drained. Once you get to that point of awareness and understanding, put some music on. That's why it's important to find those genres. Find the ones that yet you feel charged from. Put that on. Instant charge. It vibrates through your body, causing it to cycle, causing it to vibrate, therefore causing it to charge. Some people, they do it through meditation or listening, going outside to nature by a creek, listening to a babbling creek, or waterfall, the ocean, the rain. You start seeing the patterns. You start seeing the things that most people can't see and understand. They see it, but they don't. They don't see the true inner beauty of it. They don't see the emotion and energy that comes off it. It's also, like I said, find those very emotional memories, ones that make you really happy, or the ones that make you feel really loved. When you start feeling depressed and down, trigger that emotion, and let that emotion flare those energies. All you're doing is countering the opposite effect. Sadly enough, it takes us a long time to realize these things. It takes us almost fully embracing these things until we see it. And even then, until we fully embrace it, we're not even at the tip of the iceberg yet. We're still halfway at the summit, to the mountain, to the top. Because once we fully embrace it, I'm still seeing new things that I didn't realize. I'm seeing the patterns. But I see that I don't want to ramble on much longer because we're getting close to an hour, and I didn't mean to go this long. But if anybody's watching, you guys got questions, feel free to ask. I do these videos for you guys. I share my experience, things I've learned the hard way. Because we're all different. We're all grasp things, see things differently. And that's the other beauty and importance of it. I'm actually going to stop sharing real quick, guys. So if you guys type something, I will come back to this. I want to go check, see if anybody's commented on the video links I left in those two empath groups. That's the other thing, guys. I will never share when I do streams like this. I'll never share these groups because in a sense, I think this is more private. And I want to kind of keep it that way. Hence why I really not name the names of the groups. Because of what I feel from the groups, how it's like a place of solace, a sanctuary of sorts. I want to keep that pureness that I feel off of these two groups. The group owners, because I posted these two videos in the groups you watched. If you want me to share them, let me know, and I'll put the link inside the description of the YouTube video. Or next time I do an empath video, I'll share it then. Or I'll just come back and do a recorded video and actually share the groups. But other than that, I don't want to. I feel it's more appropriate the way I've done it now. But, you know, like I said, guys, use the groups. From what I've seen, they've been they're nothing but helpful. Like I said, I've only came across a couple that were out just about the wrong thing. You know, because you got to remember, I mean, these groups are also the perfect atmosphere for that type of empath. The more psychic type things to come in here, feed off your guys' emotions and energies. Which, like I said, wow, I don't know. I came across two, and they didn't stay long anyway, so I haven't seen them, felt them again. But I bring it up because it's something you guys should be aware of anyway, from being outside the groups or being in people that you've let into your friends and stuff circles. That's why I said the key point thing is, other than embracing it, is also learning to take a break. Take a step back. If you see something like something on TV, then turn it off. Take a break from it. Oh yeah. One more thing I'll end this stream. Addictions. As you get to a certain point of awareness of being an empath, you'll start picking that up as well. Like I said, it heightens other senses. You know, eventually you'll be able to taste and smell if somebody's smoking or drinking. Or doing other things. So keep that in mind. If you feel it, it might be best to tune it out, because you can actually just tune that aspect out once you become aware of it. It's like, oh, okay. So a lot of people don't understand that can affect us. Yeah, especially if you don't do it. If you don't drink, you don't smoke the other. I mean, I'm just staying on the lighter spectrum. The hardcore stuff, that's all bad. I mean, technically, this is kind of all bad. But yeah, even I class a couple of things as not bad. I occasionally drink and occasionally smoke, and I got to bet, or I smoke cigarettes. So you can pick that up as well from people. Especially the more open you become, more aware, you can pick even those slightest things up. And I'll let you guys think about what can you do to counter those. Because you can. You can make a drunk sober. But it's not much different than turning the mob into the crowd into a bunch of hippies, peace-loving hippies. And I don't mean offense there. I'll just point out, most people think of peace-loving hippies. They think of the protesters of the 60s. It was all about love and a few other things, but it was all good things. Basically, you just turned the riotous mob into a happy crowd that's no longer being controlled or manipulated by other people. You can do the same thing. It's straining when you do the other things, because those are vices and addictions. But I thought I'd throw that out there because, like I said, something just came to me. Something I felt. Actually, I had it happen to me in a stream I did. I think it was Sunday night on the open discussions. I went to go take a sip out of my coffee, and it was like I had just taken a sip out of some really strong liquor. And it was like, because my coffee didn't taste like coffee, I'm like, first thing I asked in the chat, like, went right straight to who's drinking? Don't know why I picked it up. Don't know how. there wasn't nobody that was actually chatting, so like I said, the more you embrace it, the more you become aware of other things. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Like I said, I love doing these just because I know there's not much information out there. All I can do is give my own experience. You know, like I said, feel free to like the video, share it to those others like other empaths or the ones that don't understand what an empath is. You know, if you want, subscribe to my channel so you know when I do videos similar to this. I do videos on various different topics, guys, just not this. But I will mention for those that don't want to get the more called aspects, I do a lot of called stuff. I try to keep it separate when I do the empath stuff, because I know the empath groups are more, it's a mixture of a little bit of everything, and I don't want to steal it. I want them to still be able to watch my videos and feel comfortable and safe. So I just wanted to give that as forewarning for those that don't particularly care for that, which might shy you away from subscribing to the channel. I will always, when it comes to anything empath, I will always title them with the word empath and whatever the rest of the title is going to be. And they pretty much will always be in knowledge and principles. Occasionally maybe on wisdom on a whim. But other than that, guys, feel free to leave comments. You can leave comments under the videos in the groups. I'll answer. And if you guys want me to do more, let me know. If you guys want to join me in the live stream here on Hangouts and share experiences, share ideas and stuff, send me a message on Facebook or in the comment. Or I didn't leave my email address to the group, so yeah, you have to hit me up on Facebook or here on YouTube. But other than that, I wouldn't mind doing more of these. I enjoy them. You know, it's a lot easier when you start getting people participating, sharing ideas, so we can interact back and forth. And then we get new ideas from that. I don't know why I keep waiting to the end of the videos because I should start off with that, but I like getting to the videos and getting into it. Just because I have a tendency, well, more than a tendency, I just can't do 30-minute videos. I seem to always go hour, or I don't want to talk about the weekend videos. They've been known to be 8 hours long. But like I said, this is for you guys. Do with it as what you feel necessary, wherever your level's at. You know, feel free to definitely share it to other people, even those that don't know what an empath is. I've got a few other empath videos. I'm going to have to transfer them from my other channel over to here. So I'll do that this weekend. I think I got 2 or 3 other videos. This is the 4th one on empaths. So, thank you for watching. Wish you guys a good night. And I'll try to do a few more of these for you guys.